Hey guys, Malika Semper here from Malika Semper Astrology, and this is your horoscope for the first full week of January 2026, from Sunday, January 4th through Saturday, January 10th. Let's get into it. First, I would like to say that the earth signs, if you're an earth sign, Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, you guys are so supported the beginning of 2026 this year. So there are five planets in earth in the heavens above us. We have the sun in Capricorn. We have Mercury in Capricorn. We have Venus in Capricorn. We have Mars in Capricorn. There's so much Capricorn energy. And we also have Uranus over in Taurus. So especially you, Capricorn, you're just like the star of the show, the start of 2026 this year. And you other earth signs love Capricorn. Capricorn's your best friend, and you really thrive under the sky. So it's really good news for the earth signs. The water signs appreciate all this earth in the heavens. It just gives you a chance, water signs, Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio, to have some place to dry off for a little bit and feel very nurtured and nourished and taken care of. The air signs and fire signs are a little bit ants in the pants under this type of sky, but let's get into it. The other cool thing this week, you guys, we have two Kazimis, and we have a Venus Kazimi and a Mars Kazimi, and that simply means when those planets go into the heart of the sun, they are empowered. We'll talk about that too. This week, we are hungry for love in a lot of different ways throughout the week. Let's start with Sunday, January 4th. So, we are coming off of that full moon energy that we just had, right? And this is a day, Sunday, January 4th, where the moon is opposing Pluto. It's happening tonight at 10:25 p.m. Pacific to be exact, but the day is building towards that, so we can certainly feel this. The moon is in Leo and she is opposing Pluto over in Aquarius. This brings in a lot of deep emotions on Sunday, January 4th. It brings in this either this desire to get to the core of something, to the heart of something, to the guts of something, to the soul of something that was either hidden or tucked away and is now coming up to the surface. For some of us, it's like finally this thing has surfaced that we can work with, that we can deal with, that we can emote on. For others, it feels too intense. It feels like, oh, this is the last thing I want to be dealing with. It feels too heavy. It feels too dark. Ultimately, when Pluto opposes the moon, Pluto is trying to get you to look at the thing, look at the darkness, look at the heaviness, look at the wound, and do your healing work around it. So ultimately, Sunday, January 4th can be a very healing day, but we're healing from the very depths of us. It's not a superficial day. It's not where we are staying on the surface of things, but we're going really, really deep on Sunday, January 4th. Now, we come into Monday, January 5th, and we have a couple things going on here. This is happening all week. So it comes in strongly on Monday, January 5th, and then all week, Jupiter over there in Cancer, lonely little Jupiter over there in Cancer, is opposing so many Capricorn planets. Jupiter is opposing the Sun, is opposing Mars, is opposing Venus, who are all over in Capricorn, and we're feeling this all week. So let's talk about that. Whatever Jupiter is talking to in the heavens, he is making those planets and that energy feel larger than life. So he's opposing Mars and Venus, which are two of the main relationship planets. Mars is our desires and our sexual energy and what we want to go after and obtain. And Venus is love and this essence of pleasure and heart connection and romance, right? So Jupiter comes along and is opposing all those. And he makes us hungry for love with an insatiable appetite this week. It could be a very big sexual appetite, it could be a very big romantic appetite, but there's also this feeling of it's never enough, or it's not enough, or I don't know how to feel satiated in this, right? It feels good, the energy, because it's Jupiter and he's just a happy-go-lucky guy and he just wants to bring you all the good things in life. But there can also be overwhelm in that, or like I said, this feeling of never being full, always needing more, wanting to be fed more, right? So it can be a week where we find a lot of like sexual chemistry, romantic connection, our hearts are really met. But it can also be like we're overdoing it or we are overwhelmed with those sorts of things. Okay. So Jupiter is bringing a lot of good things and a lot of connection into your lap. But then we also have to learn moderation with that. And this feeling of, I'm so hungry for it, but I also have to use discernment with it. So is it actually good for me? Because the innate energy is just to say yes to everything, right? But sometimes we can overdo it with this energy, and it's a feeling of over promising, over committing, so on and so forth, and then not being able to follow through because we're completely overwhelmed. Okay, so keep note of that, and this is going throughout the whole entire week. Then on Tuesday, January 6th, we have our Kazemi for the week. So we have the sun meeting up with Mercury. Sorry, I misspoke earlier. I said it was a Mars Kazemi. No, it's a sun Mercury Kazemi. So what this means is that Mercury moves into the heart of the sun. They come together, they join hands at 16 degrees of Capricorn. Today only, this becomes exact when we wake up at 8:36 a.m. Pacific. This is such an intellectual day of clarity, major clarity. We know what we want. There is direct, clear intellectual powers at play here that says, conversations are to be had today that are important and that can then be understood. It's a day where we want to like send the email, send the text, because Mercury, the planet of communication, of reaching out and connecting mentally and intellectually with somebody, the planet of words and expression is receiving the life-giving force of the sun today. And when that happens, there's such an awakening of the mind. The mind says, ah, this is it. This is how I say it. This is how I want to present it. And words just land today. So there's a lot of like mental clarity, a lot of mental direction, a lot of empowerment around our self-expression and the way that we express ourselves. And it tends to be met how exactly it needs to be met, right? So we can move mountains today with the way we speak and the way we express and the way we sort of portray our perspective and our opinions and our ideas. Okay. And it's all landing at 16 degrees of Capricorn today. And so if you are a Capricorn, that is within like a couple degrees of this, it's especially prevalent for you guys. All right. And then we move into Wednesday, January 7th, and we have some cool things happening today. Today, one of my favorite aspects ever is happening in the sky. Venus and Mars are meeting up today. There's a conjunction between the two relationship planets. They are meeting up at 18 degrees of Capricorn. It's going to be exact at 6:43 p.m. Pacific today. We're going to feel this today and tomorrow, Thursday, January 8th. This is such a signature of passion and love and charisma and magnetism. Venus, the planet of love and pleasure, and Mars, the planet of desires and sexual energy and going after what we want, are joining up and holding hands. This just emphasizes a day of like really going after your true heartfelt desires. It promises a day of like romance, romantic connection, passion, passionate connection. Um, it's juicy, it's warm, it's generous, and it's like one of the ultimate charismatic romantic signatures ever. And we are under the sky today, so it's a sky that is just like screaming desires and romance. Okay. Um, And we'll feel this today and tomorrow. And also today, we have a grand trine in Earth happening in the heavens. We'll feel this today and tomorrow as well. And so when we have a grand trine in Earth in the heavens, it stabilizes us down here on Earth. It makes us feel more grounded, practical, logical. So even with all this like passion in the sky, we can also feel our feet on the ground. We can also be practical about it and logical about it. And it brings in this, like a lot of maturity and a lot of wisdom around how we approach that Venus-Mars conjunction in the heavens today. It's like a really great, great combination. And we feel this today and tomorrow. And then tomorrow, Thursday, January 8th, we have some challenges to emotions coming in. So that moon is in Virgo, the first thing happening in the morning. The moon is in Virgo, being opposed by Saturn over in Pisces. This is happening at 9:46 a.m. Pacific. And when Saturn is opposing the moon being our emotions and our emotional expression and vulnerabilities, those tend to get muted. They will be up again in the afternoon and rich and very open to connection. But in the first part of Thursday, January 8th, it's like we are trying to have heart connection, but it's hard to come by. We can feel lonely the first part of the day. There's a little bit of like a pessimism that comes in here when Saturn is opposing the moon, a loneliness because we have a hard time finding that heart connection, finding a way to open up our heart to vulnerability and feeling our own emotional support systems. They're sort of hard to come by. There is some sort of a blockage to family connection, heart connection, that sort of thing. But by the afternoon, 3:23 p.m. Pacific, that moon is then being opposed by Neptune. And Neptune softens the heart and opens it up once again. So now we are feeling perhaps extra emotional. So the first half of the day, there's almost like a restriction or a mutedness to our emotional capacity. And the second half of the day, all of that opens up, and here come the tears, right? Neptune opposite the moon. We now have this sort of overly sensitive emotional body. There can also be confusion around emotions with Neptune because Neptune is quite foggy and elusive at times and brings in the fantasy of it all rather than the reality of it all. So we could be wearing our rose-colored glasses come the second half of the day and avoiding things, or we're feeling things very deeply and really longing for that heart connection and most likely being able to find it with Neptune opposing the moon. So restrictions of emotions in the morning and an overabundance of emotions in the afternoon. Now, Friday, January 9th, we do have that Mars cazimi. So Mars enters into the heart of the sun. This is happening at 19 degrees of Capricorn, and it's happening at 3:41 a.m. Pacific time. What happens here is that Mars receives all the vitality and the life-giving force of the sun. This is very, very special. So Friday, January 9th is a day for action. It's a day where we want to step in and do the thing because this energy of action, this energy of meeting our desires and going after what we want, this planet of physical energy, our physical body is being completely lit up. So suddenly we are feeling brave and courageous and we want to jump in and take the risk and do the thing. So Friday, January 9th is such a day of like, let's just get up and do it. Oh my gosh, I'm not scared anymore today. Oh my gosh, let's do this thing that we've been sort of shaking in our boots about because we have the bravery and courage under us now. It can also be a day where there's a lot of like intimate connection, sexual chemistry can really come to the forefront Friday, January 9th. Okay. Because that planet of sexual energy is again receiving life force and vitality. So our desires come up to the surface and they're very hard to ignore on that day. Okay. Because of these cazemis happening and that Venus and Mars conjunction happening, if you are a Capricorn born anywhere between, let's say, 13 degrees of Capricorn and 22 degrees of Capricorn, somewhere in there, you are really feeling these cazemis and you're feeling that Venus conjunction to Mars this week. It's a very potent week for you. Very intense week for you, but it's all sort of like good opportunities, and it's an opportunistic week for you as well. And then Saturday, January 10th, this is a bit of a harder day. So, first of all, we have the sun and the moon squaring, right? We have the sun in Capricorn, and the moon has shifted into Libra. And Capricorn and Libra, they're not the best of friends. They don't really understand each other fully. There is a lot of teachings that Capricorn can get from Libra and Libra can get from Capricorn, but right off the bat, innately, it's tense energy. We're waking up under the sky at 7:48 a.m. Pacific, the sun squaring the moon. And so, it can feel a little bit tense here on Earth, a little bit clunky here on Earth. The ebb and flow isn't as natural and ebbing and flowing as it would like to be. We just have to be more mindful under the sky. We can be a little bit more irritated under the sky as well. Speaking of irritation, that moon in Libra is not only being squared by the sun, but it's also being squared by Mars and Venus over in Capricorn. This is all happening in the morning. So Saturday, January 10th, we can wake up a little bit irritated. So the moon is receiving a square from Mars at 7:12 a.m. Pacific. And this is irritation, plain and simple. This is like frustration. This is annoyance. This is irritability. Mars is really amplifying our emotions and our feelings. And Mars is aggressive and assertive and is the fighter and the competitor in us. We can feel like picking a fight this morning. We can feel like challenging somebody. We can get pissed off much more easily. Somebody says something and immediately we're triggered. And those reactions are usually they can be quite dramatic or theatrical, when the moon squares Mars. And then just to join the party, Venus comes to square the moon as well at 9:54 a.m. Pacific. So all those planets, Sun, Mars, Venus, over in Capricorn, are challenging this sweet moon in Libra that just wants peace and just wants everybody to get along. But the challenge is here, the competition is here. When the moon squares Venus as well, there is this hunger and this desire for love and having a harder time coming by it. It can feel like, again, we have this insatiable appetite for romance, for love, but Capricorn and Libra just don't quite know how to get on the same page with that. Libra wants all the sweetness, all the romance, all the, equality and getting along, and Capricorn wants the hard work. And Capricorn wants like the reality of it all and the harsh reality of it all. And Libra's like, oh, but can't we just pretend and stay in the sweetness of it all? And Capricorn says, no, this is what's really happening, right? And so Saturday can be a little bit of a harder day. We just wake up a little bit irritated, hungry for love, but having a harder time getting the fulfillment of that. So, of course, it all comes back to self-love and loving the self. And how do you get that for yourself without looking for the external fulfillment, right? As human beings, it's much easier said than done. But I do want you guys to enjoy this week because there's some big things, right? The Mercury Cazimi, great day for communication, Tuesday, January 6th. The Mars Cazimi, great day to take action, Friday, January 9th. There's that beautiful Venus conjunction with Mars happening midweek. Great day for sex, great day for romance, great day for those romantic connections. All right, you guys, thanks for watching, and I will do the following week here soon.